The Dr. Fazil TV show is brought to you by POYA, People of Yuma Health Association. The Dr. Fazil TV show is intended for health educational purposes only and complies with all the HIPAA regulations.
So, Dr. Fazil show came through over last few years. Since I'm the guy who's been doing the show, that's my name. That's why it's Dr. Fazil show. We recorded. It is already available on websites, on the magazine, in the written format, inside the on the Roku TV channel. So this is the second episode. We are repeating the episode. Well, I will say season, and this is episode 2 because that's how we are. Our shows run, right? Seasons and episodes on Netflix and everything else. So it's a weight loss season, and this is episode number 2. We did last month first episode. Few housekeeping things. As we said, we do record these things, so please do not disclose your personal health information because of privacy reason, and there's a law known as HIPAA law. We have to follow those regulations. I have no financial connection with any company or any organization. I'm doing it at my own will, and I hope you're all there at your own will, so you're not billed or charged for that being here, right? Just want to make sure that. And all right, so basically the thing behind this episode is, or this educational seminar is People of Yuma Health Association, started by my wife a few years ago. It's a non-profit organization, and we focus on many things. One of them is the most important thing is patient education. So again, you can go on website. A lot of people who can't come to the seminar, they do go, especially the snowbirds or winter visitors. They travel back and forth, and they want to stay in touch, and that's how they do it. So they can go on website. On Roku TV, if you have a Roku TV, you can search this topic, and you can download, and you can watch the channel there as well. Weight Loss Center of Yuma is actually doing a bioclinic. We just got nomination, actually not nomination, for award for the bioclinic, the best multi-specialty group of in state of Arizona by GHP, which is Global Health Pharmaceutical. They are an international company, and they do their own assessment. They look at our outcomes, our cost effectiveness, and they have different metrics. And I'll get to that certificate in a few minutes. This is actually a picture of one of my real patients, no Photoshop done. And in a few months before and after, you can see that. My wife initially was seeing him, and afterwards she stopped looking at him. You can see she's like at my, whatever, I'm looking at my cell phone now. She gave up on him, or vice versa, I guess. Either way, they're still happily married. And they come from actually St. Louis, so side view, you can see a big difference. All right, so this is the certificate we got. If you can see on this side, I can back up a little bit. I hope you can see that. So I was happily surprised to get that we got recognized for such a difficult award. So there's only one clinic in the whole Southwest Arizona, and it was bioclinic. So that was a good achievement. Keep us motivated and keep doing what we're doing. Now you can see here, this is a real graph of a patient. You can see how the weight versus time, how the weight is being dropped. So when we do the weight loss clinic, you take the pictures, we take the weight, and system automatically calculate the graphs, fat content, and also the body weight, and you can also plot against the blood pressure. A lot of time when we are having patients lose weight, their blood pressure drops and their sugar drops. So we have to continuously adjust the medication. All right, so these are different graphs. Like this is even the waistline. You can see the waistline, how the waistline is dropping from 44. This is for the same patient you saw before, the pictures. So his waistline was 44 inch, and I think by then it was around 30 inch, around 32 inch. So he lost around 12 inches on the waistline. We don't talk about weight. We talk about body mass index, which is a ratio between your height and weight. But remember just two numbers. 25, you're doing great. 25 to 30, you're overweight. Medically, you're still doing great. Above 30, you're obese. Now you need a medical weight loss, or you would qualify for medical weight loss. So what is the normal weight? And we discussed about the BMI, and you can see in this picture, extra weight, where does it go? It goes in all the wrong places. So how many calories we need to lose 1 pound, right? That's the question. We need around, if you can see, 3,500 calories to lose 1 pound of fat. 1 pound of fat, 35, a lot of calories. Now we discussed in the past. So just remember, 100 calorie is equal to 1 mile of running. So you would have to run 35 miles to lose 1 pound of fat. A lot of running, right? Or exercise. So all calories are equal. Is that fact or myth? So let's talk about it. And that's actually a myth. They're not equal. The fact is that if you get calories mostly from fat, you will lose more weight versus if you get it from carbohydrates. And there's a science behind it. So basically, even though we talked about the calories, and I'm going to say it, if you have to remember one amount of how much calories you need to lose weight, is 1,200 calories a day. That's kind of like a rule of the thumb. So now the next question would be, can we just take 1,200 calories of anything, or 1,200 calories of fat, or protein, or carbohydrates, or combination of that? Or which one is more effective? Answer is fat. That's paradox, right? So that's how the Atkins diet came into play. Highly fatty diet actually causes more weight loss than carbohydrates. 1,200 calories from carbohydrate will cause you least amount of weight loss. 1,200 calories coming from fat will cause you most amount of weight loss. And the reason is insulin. Carbohydrate cause insulin release, which causes weight gain. Fat causes least amount of insulin release from your body, so it causes more amount of weight loss. Now, we also have to remember that fat is not good for your heart, for other things, so we cannot just recommend that eat pizza every day. So you can have combination of it. You can say, well, I will take 30% from fat, 30% from carbohydrate, from protein, and 40% from carbohydrate. So you can do that combination, and that should be fine. So the second thing we discuss in the clinic all the time is that weight loss is a linear process. That means every single week, if you weigh yourself, you will be losing weight if you are on your diet plan. That's false. And the fact is that it's a curvy pathway, and we see it all the time. 1 week, a same patient will lose 4 pounds. The next week, they will lose no weight loss at all, or sometimes they even gain. The reason is the weight is not just fat. It comes from your fecal material and from fluid retentions too. So if you're constipated for one reason or the other, then you might gain some weight. If you are a menstruating female and you're having a menstrual cycle in that week, when you weigh you again, you will be heavier because of the hormonal changes. So it's never a linear process. So there's always as long as you stick with your guns, stick with your, well, seems like I'm talking about NRA now. All right, stick with your diet plan. You should be, eventually you will lose weight. So don't worry about few episodes of office visit where you have gained weight. Don't worry about it. Just stick with 1,200 calories if that's your prescription. Eventually you will lose weight. Supplements can help lose weight. Is that a fact or is a myth? So it's a myth. I know we do recommend certain supplements. Most supplements which are advertised, hydroxycut or those other unknown supplements being advertised on the TV every day, they are useless. Save your money. Please don't use money on those things. There are only few things we have found. One is bitter orange, and it only adds 3 to 4% or 5% the most in weight loss. Bitter orange is an extract from bitter orange. It causes your metabolism to be a little bit more faster. There's another thing known as glucomannan. It comes from kinja root. The way it works is that you take it an hour before the food, drink a lot of water, it swells in your stomach. When it swells, you will feel full, so you would not need that much amount of food. So you will get full faster. So your urges for more food would be less, and that's how it works. So there's no direct role, but there's the indirect role of supplements in weight loss, and those are only two things we have found so far. There are a few other things like green tea, which might give you another 1% weight loss, but again, that's less than 5%. So your 80% or 85% of weight loss will come from calorie restriction. So you have to pick one fight, focus on the calories. Also, a lot of people say, well, obesity is not a genetic thing, is a willpower, you eat more, and we discussed that. But there's certain condition where genetically you can gain more weight. So it's not just overeating. There's some situations, some genetic conditions where people have tendency to gain more weight than their counterparts. So it is not just simple overeating. It's also genetic. Eat less, move more. You will go to a lot of your doctors or have gone to other healthcare providers in the past. If you talk about the weight, we call it a doorknob question. That means when your hands are at the door, a knob of the door, or doctor's hands is on the knob of the door, and the patient will ask, "Doctor, I want to lose weight," or the doctor will say, "You should lose weight," and you will ask how, and you will say, "Eat less and just do more," and he's gone or she's gone, right? It's not that easy. It's a very complicated process. A lot of education, motivation is involved, so it's a myth. It can't be that simple. And I think I have a picture to show that, like here. But this guy or person is drowning into water, right? Or that person asks, "Hey, I need your help." I say, "Just swim a little bit more and you should be fine. And if you can't make it, hey, have a nice day," right? So same thing for somebody who's asking for help. It's not that easy just saying, "Oh, just swim more and you're just going to be fine." Well, the person is trying his best. That's why he's asking for help, right? So it's not that easy. Carbs make you gain more fat. That's a fact. We discussed that. Same amount of calories from fat versus carbs versus proteins. The most fatogenic, that's my new term, is actually carbs. The least amount of fat gain from the same amount of calories is fat. So you lose fat by eating fat. Just remember that. But don't practice that because it is not good for your heart. So kind of like, that's the concept behind the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is a high fat, low calorie, intense diet. I will recommend ketogenic diet only if you are in a rush mode. That means you're getting married in 3 weeks and you don't have time and you want to get into shape to put yourself into that dress. That would be the only justification because it's not a sustainable program. You will gain weight and it is very aggressive program and you can have a lot of complications. Please do not try it if you are on certain medications because it can cause complications. For example, if you are on metformin or insulin, if you go to 800 calories or less calories, you can pass out. And if you're 100% healthy, you might want to try it. But most of the time, medical weight loss, the patients have other medical conditions, so they shouldn't be trying all that. And the next is eating breakfast is necessary to lose weight. Now let's see if it's a fact or myth. Myth, no role. So yeah, if you take breakfast, you will have more calories for your brain. Your brain will function better, but would not make you lose weight. So the fact that somebody eats breakfast and somebody don't have no role in losing weight. That's a myth. Weight loss diets actually work. Is that a fact or is it a myth? Myth. So there's a lot of diets out there are believed to be more effective from one or the other for weight loss. But at the end of the day, it's all about the calories. There's no special diet which will make you lose more weight. Although, if you eat spicy food, you will lose more weight. Because spicy food has something inside which causes your metabolism to be more faster. Question, people with obesity are unhealthy, thin people are always healthy. That's a myth. A lot of people, and you can see, and from your neighbors and from your relatives, that people who are obese, they are just obese, have no other issues sometimes. People who are very skinny, they end up with a heart attack and strokes and other things. And you say, how did you get all that? You're not even obese. So that's a myth. So if you're skinny and thin and your weight is under control, still go through your physical checkups. Still follow the standard guidelines, because you might have hidden problems which have nothing to do with the weight. So being right at the margin of your weight does not mean that you are healthy. You still might have other issues. So that's a myth. Food fraud, we discussed that. The FDA have made it mandatory that you have to disclose the calories, but watch out for those mislabeling and look at the fine print. So that's a fact. Now, questions. So we finished the presentation. I hope you learned some important pearls of wisdom. So I will be happy to take your questions now. Thank you so much. Yes. Accepting obesity is not curing obesity. So we have accepted it as and the reason is that there's an epidemic of obesity. So more and more people, children are getting obese. So now the people who sell clothes and makeup and all those things, they say, wait a second, why we have to just market to people who are in shape? Why don't we tap into the biggest growing market? So actually it's all about economy, not about healthy things. So actually it is more dangerous, because as a society we have accepted that reality as, okay, big size is okay, that's normal size now. The big is normal. And actually it is not. And the reason we are saying the change is acceptance is that the industry which are selling the food, the industry which is selling the clothes, they want to cash out of it. So that's why. And that's even dangerous now, because before we have a peer pressure, if not a medical pressure, a peer pressure. Okay, we got to be, in this weight category, and now we'll say, well, no, that's fine. We got an XXXX large for you in that section, and you'll get your size. You don't need any custom clothes anymore. They are readily available. So that's the reason. Not that it has. It's not new normal. It is actually new normal because of financial reasons. So eventually, and you can see the hospitalization is going more and more, and they are due to obesity. And if it was a normal thing, then that number should drop, but that's not dropping. If you go to San Francisco, or Tucson, for example, you will see there's a different breed of people there. I mean, there's a peer pressure still there. People are running, exercising quite a bit, and they're skinnier versus in other parts of the country. So there's a pocket of population which are still holding the fort, and I think we should follow their trend. Good question, though. Next question, please. Yes. Right. So fat. I mean, the oil comes in two different categories: saturated and unsaturated fat. Olive oil is unsaturated fat. So unsaturated fat, again, calories are the calories. So as far as we are considering the weight loss, wouldn't make a difference. But we're talking about having low cholesterol in the blood. So you cannot have or you can prevent heart attacks and strokes and plaque buildup. Then unsaturated oil is more recommended, like olive oil versus butter or anything else. Good question. Yeah. People who have chronic kidney condition, we tell them to eat low protein diet. That is kind of like, I think it's an overrated statement. Most people do not eat high protein diet. Most diets are actually low protein diet or average protein diet anyway. So if you have to be very, very scientific about it, then 1 gram per kilogram per day of protein is what this recommendation is for somebody who have kidney problem. So if you are 70 kilogram, so you have to change the weight from pounds to fat, to kilogram. So 70 kilogram person, like 150 pounds person, is equal to 70 kilogram person should eat 70 grams of protein a day if you have a kidney problem. But we have found that that's actually normal amount of protein most people will eat anyway, unless you are eating steaks every day, or some people who do weightlifting or bodybuilding, and they are buying those protein shakes and putting inside their diet and taking huge amount of protein. That's nephrotoxic. Is not good for the kidney. So just to make it easy, whatever they're eating as far as the protein is concerned is fine. It's not too much. You can ask, you can tell like who takes a lot of proteins. People who have a lot of muscles, big guys, they generally buy protein powders and shakes and eat 12 eggs a day or 15 eggs a day. Those are the person which we typically tell them do not eat a lot of protein. Protein is not good for the kidneys. They have to metabolize. Protein is metabolized by the kidneys and the liver, and less burden to them is better. So, but at the end of the day, whatever protein we eat in our day, in the average person, that's fine for the kidneys. No problem there. Good question. Yes, sir. As long as your stomach can handle it, you should be fine. One of the side effects of hot sauce is inflammation, gastritis. You can have gastritis, and if you are okay with that, that's fine. One of the side effects might be acidity. Now, acidity, the blood has a certain level of acidity, which is physiological. So when people develop kidney failure, they start to build up too much acid in the blood, and then we prescribe them baking soda. So they eat baking soda, and this is a prescription, sodium bicarbonate, which is a baking soda, to alkalinize their blood by giving them those tablets. And then we can measure in the routine blood test how much acid they got. So if your sauce consists of a lot of acid, like vinegar and stuff, it can cause a lot of acidity. But if your kidneys are working fine, you don't have problem. You will probably handle it and you should be fine. So mostly it is your digestive system. If it is designed that way that it can handle that much, then you should be fine. So your symptom will let you know if your heart is burning or not. Yes. Let's talk about diabetes and different types. So type 1 and type 2. Diabetes comes into two different kinds. Type 1 is due to absolute deficiency of insulin. Insulin is a hormone which comes from a pancreas. Pancreas is a gland right in the middle of your in your belly, and so it produces insulin in response to carbohydrates and few other things. That's in type 1 we lose those cells known as islet cells, and we don't have insulin. In type 2 we have insulin, but we have insulin resistance. Type 2 happens when we are overweight, right? That's why when you are type 2, if you lose weight, your diabetes gets better. In type 1, no matter what you do, you might be skinniest person as anybody, but you will still need insulin because you don't have insulin. So, and oral pills like metformin would not work because those medications help to lower your resistance to insulin or causes pancreas to release more insulin. Now coming to your question was, vegetables will help type 2 diabetes, and again the fact is probably indirectly by losing weight, plus vegetables are mostly complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrate needs less, they cause less spike of sugar in the blood, and that spike is the one which tells the pancreas how much insulin to be released. So if you are using your pancreas less often, you can prolong the life of pancreas. It will stay longer, healthier, stay longer because you're not burning it out. So that's the rationale behind eating vegetables or any complex carbohydrate by losing weight, but also reducing the load on the pancreas so it can stay working for a longer period of time. Yes. That's a good question. So remember, the muscles are made up of protein. So you cannot make muscles without eating more protein. So you have to. So if you look at the professional bodybuilders, look at the amount of protein they eat is humongous. Because there's no way, and that's a good question because a lot of people go to gym and they want to build their muscles. Now we're not talking about weight loss. We're talking about building muscle. They go to gym and they try to, do the highest bench press possible, and then end up injuring the shoulders because they don't have enough muscles to support that kind of pressure. I will call it like, well, there was another example. I'll tell you later though. Somebody I put on testosterone, and he the next day and a few weeks later he broke his tendons, and he said, I was trying to lift weight and I just broke my tendons on the bicep muscles. So I said, you got too much bigger motor and too small transmission now. So so he got power, but tendon didn't catch up with that, so he broke the tendon. So but this is opposite now. So to make the muscles, you need protein because muscles are protein. So so you cannot have just pure muscle and no fat at all. It will come both together. So if you look at, if you look at the magazines, the people who are professional bodybuilders, they look all ripped and everything. That's not the fact. They're only ripped for 3 months. We call it off season and on season. Off season is 9 months, generally speaking. So 9 months, if you look at them, they're huge, heavy, fatty. You don't want to see them. But they do lot of exercise and a lot of eating. Sometimes they eat 7-8 times a day because they have to eat to build up the muscles. Generally, on the on cycle, that means when they're close to the competition, they dramatically reduce the calories. Now they're going to lose fat and muscle at the same time. There's no exception. But they lose fat a lot more faster than the muscles, and they're hungry like hell. So they just want to do that competition, get over this fast. So there are very few people which are genetically gifted with a body which will just gain muscle and nothing else. So there's 3 different categories of bodies they have defined: endomorphs, ectomorphs, and mesomorphs. And then you have combination of ecto, endo, ecto, meso. Arnold Schwarzenegger was mesomorph, was pure muscle. He wouldn't gain an inch of fat. So, but then those people will rise to the highest level of competition in the world, like Mr. Olympia multiple times, like I think 8 or 10 times he stayed Mr. Olympia. So most people, and again, if your plan is to gain muscle, you will need a lot of protein. When you eat a lot of protein, you will build muscles. Then you will be able to lift weight. You cannot lift weight without having muscles. A lot of people try to do that. They end up, our joints are very weak. I mean, they're very, and if you look at the anatomy of the shoulder joint, it's a very small capsule around the joint and the shoulder joint. And that's how we get injuries, because first we don't do warm-ups. Then there's no warm down. There's no stretching involved. We go straight to the next guy is doing, 200 pounds of bench press. I want to do the same thing. Now I crack my muscle rotator cuff, and then they're off from the gym for another 3 months. So then they start from zero. So I actually saw a patient today, and he had a similar situation. He's actually professional, and I keep telling him, hey, go easy, because you're going to have that issue. And he was going through an on cycle. Some competition was coming in, ruptured the tendon, had to do surgery, remain off from the gym for a few months, and then started all over again. So the right way would be follow the ritual, warm up, stretching, exercise to the extent you can do it, warm down, and then and then define your goal. What is your goal? Is your goal is to do aerobics? Is your goal is to lose fat? Is your goal is to become Mr. Yuma? So you have to define the goal. It's very, very, very clear, very obvious, very important to define the goal before you do any kind of exercise. What are you really trying to achieve? Because each pathway is designed differently. You cannot go from not eating and trying to gain weight. That's not even scientifically, it's not possible. So if you want to gain muscle, well, then you have to take supplements like protein shakes, protein powders, a lot of exercise, and your belly will become bigger, and that's part of it. So you cannot have one or the other. Both will come together. More muscle, less some fat, but they both come together. Then you can have to say, okay, in these 3 months, like if you're on the East Coast, generally they want to get ripped before in the summertime, so they can have what we call beach body, so they can show off their six packs and everything. But it's a whole science, a whole ritual. Sometimes people hire trainers for that, but again, it's not very complicated. If you know the concept, then you should be fine. Yes. Yes. So the first thing is take a picture of yours and put on the refrigerator. So every time you want to go towards the eating food, you see how you look like. And then there's a software which we have linked on our website. One of them is Visualize Me. So Visualize Me, actually you can take your picture and just say how would I look like after I lose 50 pounds. You can download that app on the cell phone, and it will change you to the extent what you're going to look like if you lose 50 pounds. Then you can put that picture also in the fridge. Now every time you go to the refrigerator or microwave, or then you say, okay, this is how I'm going to look now. If I lose 50 pounds, I'm going to look like this. So that is one of the very important motivational factor. Sometimes you can hire the professional gym instructor. They can help you out. It's a very lengthy and a very boring pathway for weight loss. So peer pressure is important. That's why you see, certain cities, a lot of people, they look the same, because there's a pressure on them. They want to look like their colleagues and their neighbors and everybody else, like San Francisco, for example. Well, San Francisco have other issues too, but I mean, besides that, I mean, if you go to Tucson, it's very is a very active community. There's a lot of hiking trails, cycling, and everything. So they look different. It's people around you which you hang out with, plus your own willpower. And I said there are a few tools we can use. One is, which I tell the patient all the time, okay, take the pictures And that's why we take pictures when they come in for weight loss, and then we show them every single time. And they see, oh, yes, I can do it. One more week, I can do it. They see an evolutionary thing. Mostly when they come in for the weight loss for the first time, they hate the first picture the most, and they don't like you, they don't want the picture. They say, my God. When they have graduated, that means they have lost enough weight to get out from the program. The first picture is the one they love the most, because that shows them their achievement and their success story. They want to see how they look before and after. So yes, those are few tricks. I mean, if you're married and if you have a family around you, generally the spouses helped a lot. We have seen quite a bit that couples come together and they do great, because one person is motivating the second person, and a wife is cooking food, the husband have to eat it, and they both are involved as a team, so that helps. But try the fridge thing and you're gonna like it. Visualize Me, that's the software. There's few other software, but that's what we have tried in the past. Works pretty good, actually. Good question. Yes, you see that, right? So Visualize You, yes, you're right. There's few more, but is there any other software, Renee?
Not that I am aware of.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like easiest one, because you can easily take the picture. You can download the app on your cell phone, take your picture, and then it has a bar. You can see how much weight you want to lose, and then how you're going to look like. So it gives you some idea. Good trick. Any other question? Well, I think we did good today. We had great questions, great audience. Thank you so much for coming in. And generally, when they do the professional TV shows, they generally bring a board says applause. Let's do that. All right. That person is missing. All right. But anyway, you did great. So let's have some food. Is the food out there? Did the Saul brought the food? Let's have some food, and we'll meet next. Oh, that important slide. Role of supplements in weight loss, August 30th. We'll see you next month. And that's how people used to have, some of the professionals used to have lunch back days when there was no OSHA. Now we can try that, huh? All right, guys. See you later then. Thank you so much. Thank you.